Time. Tick, tick, tick. Sometimes it passes so slowly, especially when we are waiting for something, anticipating something very, very special. Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Well, I thought that was particularly apt as an intro because we have today the definitive view. You've seen the rest, now it's time for the best, the closest, the most detailed look at the new ICM B-26B Marauder. I mentioned time because this kit of course has been much anticipated, looked forward to by just about everybody, and it's about 6 months later than ICM intended to get it out, and of course they've got so many problems in their country and so many challenges to overcome. I think we'll cut them a bit of slack on that, but even in getting this particular copy to me has been quite challenging for them due to some recent ongoing issues, shall we say, that we all know about concerning the conflict. So we've certainly looked forward to this, and it's like anything, it's like looking forward to a birthday or Christmas. You want it, and it always seems to take longer than you want it to take, and this has been a classic example of that. So we've got here today, we're going to have a proper look at it. We've got the US Aviation paint set, which is the matching paint set that goes with it. We'll have a quick look at that, and then we're going to get straight into this without further ado, but we are going to have a close look at it. So somebody made a comment a few days ago saying, hour and a half to review a kit. Yeah, well, it had 800 parts, so I don't know what part of that wasn't clear. It was made pretty clear at the beginning, really. If you want a short 5-10 minute review, this is not the place for it, so you need to move on. Most of you, I think, will appreciate seeing it close, seeing it in high definition, and I'm going to make sure I take my time to show you the parts especially, so you can clearly get a view of what's involved in this new kit that we've all been looking forward to. So, without further ado, I'm just going to put it on one side, and we'll have a quick look at this US Aviation paint set, which is acrylics, of course, from ICM. And of course, thank you very much to ICM. As I say, there's been some definite extra difficulties. And the way that mine was sent, I think they had to send it through a slightly unusual route because there was a last minute change, and yeah, there's been a lot of problems and a lot of challenges, and we can only pray that those are reduced for the people that work at ICM. It's unimaginable, isn't it, what they're going through? So very strong appreciation from me, and I'm sure most of you, for what they're doing, the fact they're bringing forward these new kits that we really appreciate. Great quality. What's not to like? So I think we need to just be patient sometimes, don't we? You know, I've been fairly patient, but I was contacting them saying, where is it? Because I know that some came in the country last week. Unfortunately, mine got a little bit delayed, but it was worth waiting for, I'm sure. Let's have a look at these then. So we've got the paint set, which consists of paint set number 3047, and it consists of the camouflage green and white. I think that's really for the invasion stripes, if you want to spray them on, to be honest. I don't think it's white underneath, it's aluminium underneath. And then you've got olive green and black, and of course aluminium. So in this case it has got some camouflage green on the wings, it seems, and on the tail. And then on the fuselage it seems like it's just the olive green. And of course there's a lot of wear, because these originally came through these aircraft in the aluminium finish, and on the back, interestingly, on the back, it's actually got, because at the time of printing this new kit wasn't out yet, so they've actually featured the A26 Invader, the B and the C, and also the Mustang. But it is perfect, as you can tell from the artwork on the front. It's perfect for this Marauder, the B-26. So. I won't get the paints out because I think we all know that they come in these little acrylic bottles. I'll show you those on the side. And yeah, you can see that we've got there there's a satin varnish. So you get satin varnish as a bonus. I didn't quite understand that. Okay, so the satin varnish is the plus. It's a bonus That's very nice then, isn't it? What a lovely little set. Excellent, just the thing you need for your Marauder. So, without further ado, let's have a look at this beautiful thing. Probably the biggest release in terms of anticipation from ICM, really. So far, I think it's the biggest, you know, highly anticipated is an understatement in this one. So it's kit number 48320. And it's the B version of the Marauder, of course, as was used in 1944. It says on the side here, the first model of the late modification of the legendary B-26 Marauder by ICM. The model was created in compliance with the geometry and proportions of the real aircraft. During the development process, a significant number of drawings, diagrams, technical drawings and photographs of real aircraft were studied. The internal fuselage extension is accurately reproduced. The model has detailed wings, engines, pilots and air gunners. Has detailed engines, pilots and air gunners firing points. Alright, no, it doesn't mean figures, it means... Okay, got me excited. I thought they'd included some figures, I don't think they have. Firing points with their machine guns and the Martin 250C upper gun turret. Okay. Bomb bay equipment is reproduced in detail with 500-pound bombs included. The detail markings for the European Theatre of Operations, the ETO, and it's got 363 parts. So, just going back to what I said about the other recent review, that's half the number of parts. A sensible part count, that's for sure. On the side, got some more lovely artwork at the back. On the side, we've got the variants here. I'll just show you these because it gives you a quick idea of what we are going to get for options. And we've got the Ladies' Delight, the 584th Bomber Group. Sorry, the 394th Bomber Group, based in England, summer 44. And then you've got a couple of options which are actually based in France after D-Day, obviously, after the invasion. But they still keep the D-Day stripes, I noticed. And we've got the 344th Bomber Group, the Coral Princess, which looks very nice, doesn't it? I think, tell you what, if I put my light on, I think we'll have a bit more illumination. Just realise it's a bit lacking over here. Is that better? Yes, that's a bit better. There we go. Coral Princess, as I was saying, and then we've got the big hairy bird, the 397th Bomber Group in France in December 44. Okay, so let's get straight into it. Without further ado, get the old knife out. This has literally just been handed to us by the parcel delivery postman, and it is hot off the press, as they say. Okay. Looking forward to this one. Been looking forward to this for quite a while. I'm sure most of us feel the same way. Well, there we go. Flap open. Right. Oh, thank heaven. So we've got some protection for the clear parts. 2 bags of screws. And we've got our instructions and other gubbins, including, oh yes, of course, they've sent us this beautiful calendar, haven't they? That's not nice. I should be putting that up in here with some blue tack, probably in front of me over here, because I've got the Airfix calendar. No offence to Airfix, I'm just not that inspired by it this year, if I'm honest. But that's really nice. Obviously, it was intended to come out a little bit earlier than it did. I think they intended it to be out. It was intended for Christmas. So you've got 2024 lovely artwork of the Marauder B, and that, by the way, in the background was my ICM badge. It's just fallen off the wall. No reflection on ICM. That's because my wall is very uneven. They're giving us a lovely badge. I'm going to put it there. How's that? There we go. And you know what happened because the wall's so uneven. It's got limited edition on it. So not to worry about that. Just recite it. Now then. Pull that out. Yeah, we won't worry about the paint section, we've already talked about that. So, yeah, I got criticised for wearing my gloves the other day by the usual types. I don't like it, you can tune out. It's as simple as that, really. Don't sit there moaning. Life's too short. Yeah, I'll do things my way, thank you very much. And those that get kits from me later, I think they appreciate me using the gloves, so they know that I'm my sweaty mitts all over it. Right, so we've got quite a lot of sprues actually. 1, 2, 3, 4 sprues in one bag. Yeah, not sure about that. Let's just pop those to one side, and we'll have a look at the. We'll have a look at the write-up first. Excuse me, I'll just put my other light on. He says, and it immediately goes off again. I think I just double tapped it by mistake. Right, if I can zoom you in. Look at this, you can tell I'm filming this in the morning, can't you? Water. It is, it's not vodka, honestly. Righty ho. Here we go then. Now then. Right, and again, ICM are very good at giving us a little bit of history, and they don't overdo it and they don't underdo it. And you get just about right, I think. And it says, the American twin-engine medium bomber B-26, manufactured by the Glenn L. Martin Company. So I'll zoom you out for this. That probably makes more sense to be out-zoomed, I think. Was designed and created in 1939 under the requirements of the US Army Air Corps. The first B-26 flew on the 25th of November 1940, and it was adopted by US Aviation in February 1941. During operation, the design of the bomber was constantly changing to improve the flight and combat characteristics. Now, it was quite difficult to fly this, especially the early versions. It had got a lot of power. Landing on one engine was nigh on impossible, I think. It has a tricycle undercarriage, and the problem was, as I was reading, that a lot of young pilots were put in these, during the war, I'm talking mid-war, with probably completely insufficient training. It's quite a heavy little thing. It's not overly heavy. It's got plenty of power, but it's quite different from a lot of the aircraft that have been training in. And I think that there was often cases where they just weren't given enough training, and they were put in something that had tricky undercarriage, very, very likely to stall at low speed. If you got the speed too low, it needed to come in at fairly rapid pace of knots, and there was quite a lot of accidents. And they increased the wing area, and I think it's going to mention that here probably. I talked about this on the Matchbox review previously. Since 1943, the wing area and keel were increased. There you go. With these changes, the aircraft was produced until the end of production. I think they mean the end of the war. The last modification of the B-26 Marauder, the B-26B 55MA, was produced until February 1944. These aircraft took an active part in US bomber operations in the European theatre at the final stages of World War II. Marauder aircraft are also known as one of the most famous US bombers during the Second World War. I'm sure I could quite agree with that, but certainly I think it's very underrepresented in the modelling world, isn't it? It's one of the problems that I think we've had. By the way, is my camera actually straight? I've got a feeling that you're a little bit skew left there. Try and get you a bit straighter. Is that better? There we go. Sorry about that. I must talk to the production team. Right, and it says length is 17.7 metres, wingspan of almost 22 metres, especially with the extended wings. Because the first wings were just not giving enough lift. I think that was one of the problems. They had quite stubby wings. And it goes on to say takeoff weight 16.7 tonnes. Not that much, is it? 2 Pratt & Whitney prop engines producing 1920 horsepower each, so you've got a lot of power there, haven't you? Maximum speed 454 kilometres an hour, so that's about 300 miles an hour. Not bad, is it, for a bomber? Service ceiling 6,600 metres, that's 12,000 feet, isn't it? And that's 18,000 feet. And the ferry range of 1,850 kilometres. Armament 11, 12.7 machine guns. 12.7 is 50 cal, isn't it? And up to 1,800 kilos of bombs. Wow, okay. Anyway, on with that. On with the show. Right, we will have a look at those in a second. First, we'll get into the instructions. So, sprue map. Yeah, we'll flip through that. Looks like you use pretty much. There's obviously going to be another version at some point because they've obviously got plans. I think there is going to be. Is it a G version coming out? I know that there was something that was penciled in the ICM catalogue that we looked at. So, here we go then. I won't dwell too much on the instructions, we'll just have a general look at them. So, yeah, you've got quite a lot of detail by the look of it on the inside of the fuselage panels. A couple of holes you've got to drill out. You've got the bomb racks that are going to go in there by the look of it. You've got the bomb bay doors have got like pivot hooks, or pivot hinges I should say. You've got the windows at the side are going to go in. Then we've got the forward section where you're going to build up the nose, basically the cockpit area really for the pilot and the navigator. Navigator sits, so the co-pilot sits a little bit back, a bit like a mosquito arrangement I think, isn't it, in the Marauder. We've got decals for the instrumentation, building up your instruments and main controls here. And then we've got the control yoke here, and then we've got what looks like our pilot and co-pilot controls going in as well. And then we have got the bulkhead coming in here. Bulkheads, the rear bulkhead of course. So there you've got what looks like a wing spar as well. And looking across, it's you've also got these bomb racks with the bombs going in quite early here, so that's going to be quite cool. Building at your bomb racks. So this is the base of these. This is the I mentioned the bulkhead. You've got the bulkhead at front and rear of the bomb bay. Quite a detailed looking bomb bay actually, to be honest. That looks really good. So you've got the other bulkheads, the one at the back of the cockpit and the one further back in the aircraft, which would obviously have a door in it, I guess. I don't think they've bothered to replicate that, I actually can't see it, which don't blame them. Then we've got our machine guns, and this is the 50 cals going in. Quite a hard hitting gun those are, you don't want to be on the wrong end of one of these, absolutely not. So you've got your the nose guns going, sorry it's the tail gun pickup. Tail gun going in here, building up the platform as well. You've got side guns. Just wondering if we've got that on the artwork. Did I look at that? Yeah, they've got some side guns, haven't they? That are about on the way back to the tail, so to speak, toward the rear of the aircraft. They fire out of the floor, in fact. So you've got those firing out the floor. Is that right? Am I looking at this upside down? I'm just starting to wonder now. I think they've actually got it. No, it's the right way up. So they do fire. There are some openings for the guns to fire out the back, clearly. And then you've got this the turret that it talked about. Sorry, just 1 second. My memory has failed me. They described this, didn't they? Yeah, the Martin 250CE machine gun turret. So that's the one there. I'm going to build this up. You've got both your 50 cals. It looks very detailed, this, I've got to say. It looks really nice, actually. You've got your intervening sort of alleyway, archway I should say, for the access to the rear of the aircraft. So you've got quite a lot of detail going in here, little sections, almost like modules that are going to go in. Your alleyway there is actually the front, not the back, as I said. You can actually see it goes in here. And then we've got all sorts of side panels and instruments and controls that are going to go in down the side, lining the front area of the inside of the cockpit wall. And then we've got over here what looks like the strengthening bars. You've got the bomb rack, reinforcing sort of structure on the side. You've got a window going in there. Over here we've got the opposite side, so it's kind of replicating what we've just seen actually, basically. And then you're going to bring the two halves together. 50 grams of weight has got to go in. It shows it like a huge ball bearing. Well, I don't think they actually provide that, so you've got to bear in mind. And that goes between the bomb bay and the cockpit bulkheads. So it looks like there's plenty of space for it, in fairness. So you're going to bring your two halves together at that point, and then you're going to build up your tail. And you've got your main tail planes, horizontal stabilisers going in here. It looks very good, doesn't it? We've got our elevators and rudder going on here. Then we've got the doors for the actual actuators for the doors for the bomb bay here, going in there. And we've got the bomb bay doors themselves here. And you can have them open or closed, obviously. And then we've got these 50 cal guns that go on the side as well, very like the Mitchell, isn't it, in that respect. It's a very heavily armed aeroplane. It's one of the reasons I think it was a little bit on the heavy side. And it needed those powerful engines, didn't it? So you've got that going in on the sides, then you've got your cockpit going on. There's not too much glasswork on this one, I don't think, apart from the front. So you haven't got too much masking to do, unlike the Sally. You've got your 50 cal for your nose gun going in there, and then obviously that gets popped on the front. You've got the nacelles have got like a spar either side to support the actual engines. They're going in there, and then the top and wing come together, and then we've got the flaps and the ailerons, which are going to come in here. And you've actually got ailerons and 2 lots of flaps, outer and inner flap. You've got the connecting rods, control rods there for them. You've got your lights, wingtip lights. And again, you've got these nacelle sort of support spars going in. They repeated the process again here. And then over on this side, again, lights going in. We've got front light, landing lights going on as well. Then you get to your engines, which look pretty detailed, it's got to be said. Yeah, those look nice, don't they? They're not just... Was it the old monogram kit, was it, that just had it? Just has a sort of a bare... sort of a front of the engine only, but this time you've got the whole engine, including... looks like you've got the all the con rods are there, and the fuel system, etc, etc. Magnetos, everything's there. Looks really detailed. Looks really detailed. Yeah, so those go together, and you get your exhaust going on, and your cowling comes together here, intakes, bringing it all together into your nacelles, intake flaps, etc. And then you build up the nacelle itself here, pop the front of the engine on that you've just created in the cowling onto the nacelle, and then we're in business. And then you attach that to the wing, and you repeat that process for the other wing, obviously. Then you're going to bring those wings in together onto the aircraft fuselage on the spars, and then we get to this tricycle undercarriage. So it's very advanced to this aircraft. I think it was one of the first to have a tricycle undercarriage, which did make it tricky to land. Obviously, it was quite different from a tail dragger. Different skills required. You've got the crew mounting ladder there, access ladder I should say, and then you've got your front nose wheel doors going on, and then basically we're going to put the main doors on for the main undercarriage under the engine nacelles, bringing in your legs and the actuator levers there, installing them. And then we're going to put the doors on themselves. Your wheels and tyres, which look good. Plastic's as good as it looks in here. No reason to think it won't be. And then finally you got your props and your little spinner going on the front, and you pop those on to your Marauder, and we are pretty much done. Just don't forget to do all the masking. Now again, the masking doesn't look too bad on this one, I've got to be honest. The mask set looks kind of manageable, doesn't it? Whew, what a relief after that Sally that had 130 you needed to create, which was a lot. Then we've got the scheme. So what we got here then? So we've got, they're saying it's probably based at Boreham. So that's down not far from London, isn't it? Down in the southeast. And this is just before D-Day, summer of 1944. Ladies' delight. Zoom in a bit on this. We'll see the decals in a second anyway. That'll be the next thing I'll look at. Then over we've got the all aluminium finished ones, which are Coral Princess, and this is at Pontoise in France in the summer of 44. And then on the back, the one that's got quite a lot of yellow on it, which looks quite attractive actually, I've got to say. And this is based at Peronne. Well, Peronne's near Amiens, of course. Peronne. It's not. It's on the just off the River Somme area. I know that because my grandfather was in that area in World War One, and I think the Germans had the airfield at that time at Peronne. I think it's where the Red Baron used to operate from, if I'm not mistaken. So there we go. And that, of course, was the big hairy bird. Anyway, we'll look at the decals and get more of an idea on the markings. It looks good, doesn't it? It looks like it's probably been worth waiting for, this one. So I will, without further ado, I'll leave that back. Stick that in there. Try not to spend too much time repacking things today. We'll just crack on with it, I think. So zoom in on this, we've got some really nicely protected this time as well. Sometimes ICMs come and the tissue is never on it, but this time it's right on it. Yeah, a little bit more cling, which is great. That's nice. So just pop that there for a second. Look at this. You've got the big, angry, charging. Is it a wild boar? It's supposed to be. I think it's a wild boar, isn't it? With the big teeth. If you look at the horns there, it looks like a boar. Very angry looking animal indeed. Beautiful decals, aren't they? Look at those. Those are very nicely done. Yeah, like those. And then over here you've got the dice, Ladies Delight. Yeah, ICM decals are really nice these days, I've got to say. Now this is Coral Princess. This looks great. Don't forget there's no invasion stripes included in the decals, so you will have to fashion those yourselves. And that of course is why they include the white in the paint set, of course. Right, without further ado then, let's look at the plastics. That's what we've been waiting for, and see if it has again made this quantum leap forward that ICM do keep doing. I'm going to start with this one. I've got some quite small parts here. I'm going to take my time here and I'm going to try and let these dwell in front of the camera, so you really do get to have a chance to focus on all the parts. So this is actually sprue G. We're going to start at the top left. So we've got a little trim wheel there. We've got all manner of parts actually. It looks like we've got what looks like the rudder pedals, I think it is there. Got your 50 cal guns here. They look really good. Now they're not actually, let's see if my eyes fail me, they're not actually, looking at whether they're drilled out, they're not actually sort of slide moulded. I know ICM recently said they don't do slide moulding. I mean, I'm not sure I'd bother replacing those, you know, with aftermarket, because they are very nicely detailed down the side. All you got to do is get your little drills out and just take a little bit out of the end of the muzzle, and that's all job done, isn't it, really? But you can see the remarkable detail they've got. Look at this lack of flash. You've got the racks that line the bomb bay there. Look like ladders, don't they? A really premium looking sprue, that is, I've got to say. And as I was just alluding to when I first started talking about the sprue, you can see that ICM are making big jumps forward all the time, it seems to me. The quality just seems to get more and more refined. They're going for a lot of these little sprue tabs to avoid ejector pins, which is brilliant. You know, that's what you get on Zokimura. So nothing at all there that gives me any concern at all. Then we've got a really big one, so I'll have to zoom you back for this. It's the actual fuselage itself. And they've got this lovely finish, this very satin finished plastic. They haven't gone for any riveting, but I'm not sure that's a bad thing really. On the inside you can see there's a fair amount of detail, so there's they've put detail where they know you're going to potentially see it, and where they think you're not going to see it they haven't bothered. I know Airfix sometimes, no criticism at all, but they sometimes do a bit of overkill. They have it everywhere, and then tell you whether giving you the choice whether you want to do it or not. It's kind of a waste of time now, unless you're going to have a cutaway section or something for a diorama perhaps. But that is very, very nicely moulded. Yeah, I mean there's really nothing to fault it on at all. It's absolutely superb. Very nice. All the panel lines are very, very even looking, very, very crisp. Excellent. So that's a nice start. There's plenty of detail inside. Ejector pins only where they won't be seen. You can see how they have got them in some areas that are potentially seen, but I know that that's because they've got things lining the side. So yeah, actually there is one or two near the back. If I was going to be hypercritical, being a bit churlish by saying this, sorry ICM, I'm just I'm just observing, but I don't think it's much of an issue. But actually at the back you can just catch there's a couple of ejector pins here, along here, the one there, and there's one there. I don't know if you can get that on the camera. Yeah, I think you can. There. But they're just very faint. They're not like really deep ones that we've seen on some other kits, like with even Tamiya in the past. Actually, we've had some fairly horrendous ejector pin marks, and Airfix as well. But no, it's not like that. It's really not a problem. Right, now then, let's get into the business. Ooh, this is a nice sprue. Look at this. So we've got our propellers here, and again we've got some really exquisite moulding. So let's have a nice. Let's take our time, and I'll try and let you get a proper look at these. So there's your propeller. It's beautifully moulded. They've put the contact gate right at the inboard there, and only on two of the props. Not like we got on my recent Edward Zero, where we had not so much of the propeller, but on some of the parts they had multiple contact points on touching everything. It's almost like they were trying to have as many as physically possible. Here they've really minimised it. That's really, really good. And then we've got our tyres. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit more for these, because these look really, really nice. See the treads on them? That's really excellent, isn't it? And of course you've only got three, because we've got that tricycle undercarriage. Then over here we've got some bombs. Also got, sorry, I've sort of skipped over these quite small parts, including the pilot's yoke control, steering the aircraft. Rather nice looking bombs. And we've got some of the rings that go around the engine, and then we've got engine intakes, part of the cowling, and then we've got the other part. That's at the top of the bottom. They have the big intake on the top, don't they? No, on the bottom. Okay. And then we've got all our cylinders for the engines. See all your con rods there. And you've got all the injection system. And down here we've got some more of the bombs. And over here we've got the exhausts here. Exhaust pipes. And then we've got one of the 50 cal guns here. It's probably best viewed that way up, isn't it, actually? That's the right way up. That's really nice, isn't it? And then we just got some undercarriage gear doors, and we've got the wheel hubs there. Now those wheel hubs, they're nicely moulded, aren't they? Yeah, that's very, very nice. Those are gorgeous, to be honest. Love it. A very nice sprue indeed, and there is in fact two of those, so that's one less. We don't need to look at both of them. That's. I mean, this is almost Zokimura quality. It's totally flash free. It looks very sophisticated. If you compare that to some of the very old ICM kits, it's completely different. You know, a big difference there, night and day. Like it's a different manufacturer almost. And ICM were talking recently in an interview, and they were talking about their process, and most of what they do is all in house. They don't. There's hardly anything apart from things like artwork and the decals that they don't. I'm not sure what the decals did. Say the decals were done in house. Can't remember now. I don't think the decals are done in house, but I think everything else is done in house. All the design, you know, all the CAD, all the even the animation. It's the brother of the managing director that does the animations for those instruction guides that they put on YouTube, which are brilliant, aren't they? Anyway, let's have a look at these. We've got some very, very detailed parts here. This is the sort of make or break parts for a lot of kits. When we get into the nitty-gritty details, where you've got some very fine stuff that can easily go wrong if you haven't got a very clean moulding process. And then you look at this, you've got your the Martin gun turret there. Look at that. That looks really cool. Here's the windows. Got the nose gear leg. Various flaps, of course, inboard and out, inboard and sort of middle of the wing. That's the, sorry, these are the inboard, and that's the middle of the wing. And that's the, I thought that was a flap, but of course it's the nose gear door. It's very easy to get confused because it's just the way they put them together as well. Here we've got the 50 cal gun again. That looks pretty impressive, doesn't it? And then we've got our main gear legs. They've actually attached it. You see how they've attached it? Makes it look like something. I was thinking, what is that? What is that? It looks like a gear leg, and I thought, but it's not. It's a bit, but it is. It's both the gear legs, but they've actually attached them just to make them more secure on the sprue. So you'll cut that. You've actually got two main legs here. It's a little bit foxed, that did, for a second. And then we've got the bomb bay door actuators here and here. And then you've got these parts that are part of the little spars for the nacelles for mounting the engines. And then over here, of course, we've got some more of those, more flaps. And you've got the seat there for the navigator, I think it is. Well, that's very nice. You've also got here the side panelling in the cockpit area, I think it is. Or is that toward the rear? I think no, it's toward the rear. Very nicely done. Excellent. Another good sprue. Then, zoom back. Zoom back. I like the way that they've put some protection for the clear parts. That's a good move. These clear parts are so sensitive, you know. They're tricky in every respect, aren't they, really? You've got to cut them, they're tricky. Painting them's tricky. Gluing them is tricky. So you've got to be very careful what you're doing. So, we'll look at those last, in fact. So let's have a look at the wings. Oh yes, these are absolutely gorgeous. Look at this. Yeah. Some lovely panel line detail. So they haven't gone for any rivets on it. It's something that they've decided not to do. But I mean, you can do your own riveting if you really wanted to, but I don't know. At the price point they produced this kit, it's coming out around about the £50 mark, approximately in the UK. £50–55 thereabouts. Yeah, I think that's absolutely beautiful. See the detail there, the little hatches. That's been really nicely done. And you've got your. Is that the elevator or is that the rudder? It's the rudder, I think, isn't it? Yeah, that's the rudder, I think. And that's got really nice contours on it. You can see the sort of stressed effect in the rudder. Then we've got over here, we've got our nacelles. They're big, aren't they? It's a big. It could be a big model. This big model. Somebody asked a question on ICM recently and said, "Are you going to do this in 30-second scale?" And they said, "A very definitive no. It would just be too big." I mean, this is quite a big project for them that they've produced here, to be honest. I mean, look at the detail on the underside of the wing, though. This is really nice here. Can you see that? All the little access hatches. They've done that very, very nicely, haven't they? Yeah. Very, very fine. And I've got a pitot here. I'm always nervous when I see that. I prefer they didn't do that, really. I think most of us think, you see how delicate it'll be when you're working on that wing. I think it might be better if ICM, it's one of their design choices they seem to make. But it's not best for the model. That's one thing I'd like them to drop, if I was honest. But that's about all I can find here to criticise, because it's so nicely done. Even the panelling on the nacelles is very, very crisp indeed. Very kind of Zokimura-like. So that's that one. Then we have got the other side, the other wing. So what you're actually seeing is one side of the aircraft's wing. It's not, on this sprue, it's not two tops and then two bottoms. It's the top and bottom of one side. And then here, of course, we've got the cockpit floor. I mean, they don't over detail, I mean, it has to be said, but it's more than adequate, I think. But some of this fine contour exterior detail like you're getting here again So is that... That's got to be the elevator. I said it was the rudder. It's got to be the elevator, but surely, hasn't it? A little bit confused about which is the rudder and which is the elevators, if I'm really honest. Just going to go back to the other one. I don't think we saw... There's 1, 2 there, and 1, 2 there. It's got to be the elevator. Yeah, it is the elevators. I can tell by the position there, it is. Right, okay. Yeah. Here's the rudder. Undo my own confusion. Yeah, here's the rudder here. This is the rudder. And these are the elevators. Because there's 4 of them, and there's only 2 rudders, so there you go, 2 sides of the rudder. So that sort of clarifies it quite well, I think. But yeah, again, the fine detail work on this, the panel lining, look at that. Haven't they done it nicely? Yeah, it's almost Tamiya, isn't it, really? I mean, what I'd say in comparison with something like Tamiya or Zokimura, or even Airfix, I mean, I would say what they're doing here, different to Airfix, is they are... The detail is finer, but they do a little bit less of it, perhaps. Which is not necessarily a bad thing at all, really. Especially when, you know, they're not over detailing areas where they know it's never going to be seen. They just don't bother, which is absolutely fine. But look at the way they've, you know, the sculpturing here. This is very nicely done, isn't it? I like that. Where the flaps are going to go. It's really, really nice. Beautiful moulding. And then it's quite a nice, solid, you know, strong, solid sprue that's not flimsy. Not going to give us any problems. And then lastly, on the grey sprues, we've got the horizontal stabilisers, and of course it has a slightly what's the word I'm looking for? Dihedral. I was trying to say, is it dihedral or anhedral? It's dihedral. Has a dihedral horizontal stabiliser on the Marauder, as you can see, and they've done that really nicely. I like the way that, and you do start to realise. You see how big that is compared to my hand. It's big, isn't it? This kit. It's a big model. It's a big plane. It's big, all right. It's got some proper heft to it. So it's not a small project at all. So yeah, you've got it all moulded in one piece there to make sure you don't have to worry about getting that angle right, because it's moulded in the correct angle already. So that's another clever idea they've got. Here we've got I think that's the roof here of the Bombay door, the Bombay, I should say. Because it's quite fat and like they used to call it a flying torpedo, didn't they? A flying cigar, was it? Flying cigar, I think they used to nickname it. The Marauder. And here you've got your Bombay doors, and I think I'm right in saying you have the choice of open or closed, or open, 2 sides of open. So that's actually a bit of a benefit. It means you don't have to start cutting. I don't like having to cut Bombay doors, and I say to all the other manufacturers out there, yeah, please stop doing that. It's really tricky when you've got to cut the Bombay door. Yeah, I can handle it, but many modelers won't, and they will struggle. You know, they may not have the tools and things like that. Just mould it separately, like ICM have done here. I think it's a lot better, to be honest. Right, put that back in there, and you've got there your main bulkhead spar, and then a couple of the other flaps. That just really leaves us to look at the clear parts. So, I have to say that it's just got that evolution feel to it again, like from the Betty, just a little bit perhaps cleaner, a little bit crisper. Now then, clear parts, what are they like? Well, I've got a slight mark on mine, I think. Has it gone? Is it just on the surface, I think? Just a tiny mark. Whether that's from the production or not. Nothing serious, I can assure you, nothing serious. So there's 2 fronts which you mentioned in that sprue mat, wasn't it? You're only going to use one of these, 2 slightly different versions. I think they're going to bring out the G version later. So there is 2 cockpit windscreens. Given that this one on the left is the one that's got a slight mark on it, it's only a tiny thing. It's tiny scuff that I'll polish out quite easily. But the other one's perfect on the right, that's absolutely fine. Everything else seems okay. You got your gun turret, and of course you've got your big one here, the ball turret, the Martin gun turret, 250 cals. But those look really nice. Yeah, I say that there's a slight, tiny bit of distortion. Also, this of the two of them is the weaker one for some reason. It may not pick up on the camera. Not sure if it will. If I put this behind it, you might just see it. There's just a tiny bit of distortion there. It's much less on the other side one. So I'd be very tempted if you can, unless there's a great difference. Oh, there is a difference, isn't there? Okay. And it's this. Okay. That complicates matters, doesn't it? So it's part 20, and it's this piece here. There's a little window frame. Can you see it there? That runs across, and it's not on the other one. Doesn't have it. What I'm going to do, just for your benefit, I mean, really it's my benefit, is I'm going to check which one you'll actually use, because we've got one there that's I mean, I'm probably making a mountain out of a molehill. You can just polish it out, it'll be fine. But I just like to check which one is going to be used of those two canopies. It looks like it is going to be 20. Right, panic over. The good one is the one you're going to use. So that's not a problem anyway. But I say the moulding of them, the way it looks, which I think is in the actual mould itself, the one you're going to use for the H model is the better one anyway. So all is good, all is good. Let's pop that back like that. It's very clever of them to bother to do that. Too many manufacturers, we've seen it again and again when I get into the clear parts, and we have an absolute disaster on our hands because they're all scratched or they've been just badly handled. Well, there we go. So I won't repack everything because it's in the interest of time. We shall bring back our lovely box though. So what do we think? What do we think? Well, I've got to be honest, I'm trying to find any meaningful fault with it. I mean, I'm really nitpicking when I talked about the clear parts. It's beautiful. It's got enough detail. It's not the most detailed interior, but it's got more than enough. You know, how much are you going to see? It's adequate, beyond adequate. So I'm very happy with that. The moulding quality is absolutely first class 2024. No complaints there whatsoever. You just got to remember to get yourself some nose weight in it, which goes in that section here. It's beautiful. Is it a 10? Is there anything really that lets it down? There's not, is there? There isn't really. The instructions are clear enough. It's lovely. I'm going to give it 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Thank you very much ICM for providing it, and also their nice, I'm actually going to stick that on there permanently I think. Their nice badge they've sent me, because I actually asked them, I said, can we have a badge, because we've got Airfix and we've got Tamiya. It seems very unfair we haven't got yours, so they've just popped that in for me, which is cool. But yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. That's a smashing kit. That's the best one yet. Hasn't got those downsides about the masking issue. You know, it hasn't got millions of windows to give the modeler super nightmares. It just doesn't have a weak point, does it? It doesn't have a weakness, really, at all. Nothing. 10 out of 10. Well done, ICM. Hope you'll give me 10 out of 10 with a thumbs up. By the way, I love the artwork as well. I think that's very nice. Please stay tuned. We've got another one or two items of interest coming from ICM and others. So stay tuned. I hope you thought it was worth the wait. I hope you thought that my detailed, close-up, high-definition review was worth the wait as well. And I think that classic case of you've seen the rest, now see the best. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I would certainly recommend it to you. You know, £50–55. There's a lot of plastic there. Obviously we don't know what it goes together like, but I suspect it's so clean looking. Everything seems to be so well thought out. I think you're going to have a good experience building this one for sure. So thank you very much for joining me. Till next time, please stay well, stay safe. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and ding the notification bell and tick the all option. And until next time, thanks all for your time. Great to see you, and see you again soon in the not too distant future. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.